Hi, everyone. It's Diana. I'm sitting here with our managing partner, Sandra Ziskin, and our victims advocate, Cassandra Harvey. Ever since you came on with Diamond and Diamond, we've been so happy to have you communicating to the public and being our advocate in terms of explaining to people the dangers of sexual assault, sexual trafficking, and all of that. I know, I mean, I don't want to be the one to intro it, but I know that you were a victim of sexual trafficking. And so as far as your experience goes, you have a lot to offer to people and warning signs to look out for.
I had one case where a girl had a STD at 4 years old.
Wow.
And we went after the caseworker who didn't remove her from the home at that point. Because, I mean, if that's not a flag, then I don't know what is, especially since the father had the same STD.
Oh, ew.
So it awful. Ooh. But yes, I know. This is what happens, right? These are the horrible things that people have to go through. You know, we have a lot of religious institutions, unfortunately, still that have, and it's all religions,
right?
Every single religion. Right. It's nobody's too holy for getting this.
Yeah. That's more direct. I guess that's more direct, like one-on-one, like let's say clergy and parishioner.
But the thing is, what happens is once you've been sexually assaulted once, your chances then of being sexually assaulted again goes up exponentially. So once you've been trafficked once or exploited once, then you become more vulnerable to further exploitation and further sexual assaults. And that's just part of what...
Would you say that was your experience, I guess? Like once you...
Yeah, I mean, I was sexually assaulted as a child in my foster home. So I think like from that, and they ended up charging him. So from that moment, like I didn't know what consent was. Like I didn't know that I could say no,
right?
You know, or like that feeling uncomfortable means that the person should stop,
right?
And pedophiles know it. They really do. They really know how to hone in on the vulnerable ones. They never go after the ones who are in very secure areas and are doing really well. They really know where to find their vulnerabilities. And that's why it takes so long for survivors to come out and to speak about it, because you're right. They don't know an alternative. They don't know where to go. And it's awful.
Yeah, especially when you're stuck in that cycle, for sure. What boggles my mind though is because you said that you started the grooming stage at 14. So then when you're trafficked, or when you finally come out and you come to the police and you come to the criminal justice system and you say, this guy nabbed me when I was a minor, can't they get them on that, Sandra? Like, can't they even get them on the fact that
okay, but now she's in love.
Yeah.
And she's saying, no, that's not what happened.
Right.
I even recanted my statement. Like I was in the hospital with like, obviously like the doctor was scared to touch me and I wrote like a 12-page statement. And then I went in after and I was like, that never happened. And the detective's like, Cassandra, like no one will write stuff the way you did for it to not have happened. And I'm like, no. I was like, I hit him. I deserve to be hit. He punched a hole in my wall. It was all consensual. I liked it. And like I got that on video, right? So what can the police do at that point?
By the way, that happens the majority of the time. That's why the sexual assault and domestic violence is such a low conviction rate, because more often than not, they recant. So I remember for the very short time I was a prosecutor, a woman where we charged the husband for beating her with a phone, then said, no, it was me. I was jealous. I jumped on him and he pushed me off, and that's how I got hurt. And by the way, this happens every single day.
And then so what? The charge just got dropped.
What are we going to do? We don't have a witness. We don't have a complaining witness.
But even after all that time, so I guess they can't go back and say, well, you still tried something with a minor, so let's try to nab the guy on that. Even though you recanted your statement, even though you're saying it didn't happen, even though you love the person, you still did something extremely illegal.
But you need evidence. So unless they have a rape kit, unless they have very objective evidence of him sexually assaulting her, and she's saying, no, it didn't happen, what are you going to go on?
Yeah. And I mean, I tried. Like, I went back to the police multiple times, even after his charges were stayed. And I said no. When I was doing witness trial prep, he was with me because it was on Zoom and trial was in Ottawa. He was with me. And I was telling them, if I testify, I'm going to kill myself. Like, you will not see me. And then they literally said, they were like, if you do not testify and you report this again, we're not going to believe you because you wasted our time. So from this day, I've not reported despite him being in contact with me. And I actually have like sexual assault kits at the Women's College Hospital that could be sent to the police.
Yeah.
I still haven't reported because of that incident. And they basically said, well, his charges were stayed, so we can't do anything. The only thing we can do is charge him with a breach. And I was like, he was charged with a breach like 10 times and he was let out on bail 10 times.
It's so tragic because they know that a person like that is out there going, like I said, after the next crop of young girls or vulnerable girls and starting the grooming process all over again. And the cycle, like...
Historically, police have been the best with sexual assault and sex trafficking victims. I'd like to think they're getting better. They're getting more educated and changing their ways. But historically, they have not been... there has been policies within the police that have changed as a result of what has occurred, which is great.
Yeah.
But historically, we know that they're not great, especially with sexual assault in particular.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of well... He said, she said, so, you know, it's a he said, she said case, but it's always a he said, she said case, right?
But it makes me bonkers that, like, you're a lawyer, you did the prosecution thing, you did the whole rigmarole, you've gone after institutions and all that stuff. The fact that you could say, oh, no, she's saying that because this is a repeat abuse cycle or because that this is the case. I can't understand how the criminal justice system hasn't met that level of logic.
Again,
you two have understood.
No,
right?
The problem is just the problem is the reasonable doubt. Yeah. So if to get a criminal conviction, you have to have the reasonable doubt test. And that's why I encourage victims to go the civil route, because on civil we only have to have a preponderance of the evidence. Is it more likely to have happened than not?
Right.
Criminal, it's harder because it's beyond a reasonable doubt, because you're taking away somebody's liberty from them. I'm not obviously standing up for these guys because they can all die.
Yeah.
Literally all of them. And I will go on the record and say,
we don't.
But if you're taking somebody's liberty away, the idea is you better be sure. So in these cases, it is often he said, she said. It is often recanted. It is often all of these things. And then if the police officer is not good, and the police officers sometimes, and I'm a big fan of the police, but the police officers sometimes are not good, then, you know, they just don't help or pursue it.
Right.
Definitely try and speak with the police and try to get the police and the criminal system to come to you. But if not, obviously from our end, if we can do a civil lawsuit, we're always inclined to do a civil lawsuit. And I've seen civil lawsuits work magic for people who were not able to, and it not everyone is able to do it, but when we can do it, our success rate is very, very high.
Yeah.
And we're able to get, oftentimes it's not even the money, they just want the I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They just want somebody to take responsibility and say, this was really crappy. I'm sorry this happened to you. And then, but they do need the money.
Yeah.
Like Cassandra said, there's nothing dirty with it. This money is necessary to retrain, to get back in the workforce, psychological treatment, because you got to get out of this mentality.
Yeah.
And you got to learn. So all of this is what we can do to help if we can find somebody along the way.
To get out, you need to contact the right people, have the right resources, reach out to someone that you trust. There is the option of always going to the police and reporting the crime or anything that had happened. If you're not comfortable with the police, like I wasn't, you can always go to any nonprofit agency. I started in a small therapy group from like a grassroots organization. And from there, I was so empowered by all of the women that I was able to get out and I was able to advocate for myself. So I think you just need to find the person who you trust and you're able to confide in and have that open line of communication.
I feel like trust is like the biggest thing here. You have to trust the person that you're speaking to, that they're going to help you. You have to trust the fact that they're going to help you get out. You have to trust yourself as well. Like you have to trust yourself that you can get through this. And no matter what you do, especially the fact that you were able to still report this person and do all the things that you were supposed to do, the fact that you were able to pull yourself out is commendable. It's a great accomplishment in your life. And it just shows like how mentally strong you are as a person, personally speaking, because like, you're right, it could be very easy with all those perks, if I'm sorry to call them that, but all those
they are a Louis Vuitton bag
is a perk,
and the perks of it, and the money and all those things that you highlighted, that could be a very big draw for a lot of people that don't necessarily have those things.
You get blinded by
you get blinded by it, and there, we just hope that everyone out there finds their way out or is able to signal to somebody that, hey, I need help. So it's good that you pointed out those helpful those groups that could potentially help you, a friend or a family member or somebody that can help you get out of that cycle.
There's people in my life who definitely knew something was wrong and no one said anything, and no one ever saw the potential in me to be where I am now.
Right.
And I think that was a big thing. Like, everyone just thought I was a bad kid and no one supported me. So I think, my biggest advice to the community and to parents as well is, like, if you see something, say something. If you know something is wrong, be a parent. Parents are too scared nowadays to tell their kid no. Not me. I will be the first to smack down on the table and say no. Like, you have to be a parent. And, I always tell my kids, like, sometimes I'm going to make decisions for you that you're not going to like, but it is in your best interest. And, 15 years down the road, you'll thank me. So yeah, I think the biggest thing is, if you see something, say something.
And there's no such thing as a bad kid. I really don't believe there's such a thing as a bad kid. I believe there's troubled kids.
Yeah.
I believe there's kids that need help. I believe there's kids with psychological issues that need to be addressed.
Yeah.
An actual evil bad child, I do not believe in. Right.